Hi everybody! It's 3 o'clock and we're doing our first Facebook Live training in the group, and I'm super excited to be doing this with you today. I'm just going to give you a minute for a few people to join on for the training before I get started. And in the meantime, I'll tell you like this funny, this is how life goes kind of story. I arrived in Florida last night, which is a day later than we anticipated. And so fine, you know, you make things happen. I'm gonna try to get the sun out of my face here a little so you can see me. So the funny thing is, I'm sitting in the sunroom and I thought, oh, this is great. I'll sit in the sunroom, I'll do my Facebook Live. I had it planned since, you know, we were leaving last week, and I had the windows open, a lovely breeze, and the guy, all of a sudden, you could see him behind me, decided to come and do the grass. So windows are closed. It's pretty warm in here, and you know, it's just like we do what we got to do to keep moving forward, and it's just a funny story. It's kind of like, that's life. So let me see if I can. I have my computer laptop open here as well, so I'm trying to see if I can manage both, because I want to go over the PDF. If you're on the call, if you're on live with me, you can go to the files section of the group and get the PDF. So this is a private training. I'm going to be doing these private trainings just for you guys in the group, and these PDF accompanying that go with my training, they'll be coming in the files as I do the trainings, and there's no additional requirements from you. I want to share the information and I want to help you, and this is just my way of doing that. So go ahead, go get the file. It's a PDF you can look at. I'm just going to go through these things. If you want to take it with you for resources later, you can do that as well. Okay, so what we're doing, we're going to start with the basics. So you may know this about me, that I have a dance background, right? So in dance, oh my gosh, hold on one second, you guys. Okay, that's over with. So in dance, you know, we go back to the basics almost every class. Every single class, you go back to doing pliés and doing relevés and warming up your body the same way you did when you were in the beginner levels. As you go up in the more advanced levels, you keep coming back to the basics for strength and for foundation. And so it's just core in me to believe in this, to do it this way. So that's why I'm starting here with you. The other thing is that I keep having conversations with people, and there's these things that pop up that I realize I completely take for granted that I know, and I think, oh well, I don't want to teach that. It's too simple. Nobody's going to want to know. And the thing is, I've been doing this for 12 years now. So what's simple to me, we're all at different chapters in the journey. So I am starting right here in the basic beginner. We're going to start right now, and I'm going to go over this sheet on things you need to know about your domain, about buying your domain. One of the holdups that I see happen for clients is when they're going through the checkout process, and they're like, well, do I need to buy that? Do I need it now? Can I wait till later? Is it an absolute? And so these kinds of questions are the things that, you know, I didn't have this support when I started out, and it was, you know, it's yucky to feel like you're alone and not sure if you're making the right decision. So I'm going to go over this with you now. Please be interactive. If you have a question, pop it in the comments. Are you ready to go? Give me a yes in the comments and we'll get going. And by the way, I got my cappuccino, my trusty cappuccino for the afternoon. Okay, so I'm going to start with talking about your name in your domain. There's a lot of things that we can do with the name. And hi, Brandon, how are you? Glad to have you here. Be sure to pop in a comment if you have any questions as I'm going. So one of the things we when we're picking a domain is really around our name, right? What are we going to brand? Hey, yes. What are we going to brand, and how are we going to position ourselves? So there's a lot of factors that come into that as far as your branding. right? But what you also want to do is be creative around it. So there's two pieces. One, you can have more than one domain go to the same page, right? You can create your website, and then you can have, I have createbuildshare.com, which is my business. It's my business model. It's the way I work. Createbuildshare.com. But that redirects to pattyrose.com, because in the last few years, I wanted to focus my attention on branding my name and branding me. So everything I do goes to pattyrose.com. So I have both domains, and sometimes I can do ads, or you can do drive traffic to one, but have it forwarded, and people still end up in the same place. So you can be creative with your domains, knowing that you can send them and forward them to all kinds of places. The other thing that you can do with that is you can split test. So you can do various pages. Let's say you have a sales page and you want to do two different colors, or you want to do two different price points, or you want to do two different styles in your sales page. And then you can put each of them on a different domain. You can put one on a subdomain, or you can put them each on a different domain. But those are things that you want to be creative around it. So you want to open up your ideas around what types of names you use. And generally, you know, when you're looking for two names, a lot of them are hard to get. 2 words. I mean, like if you're looking for, I'm pretty lucky I got Patty Rose, but I got it 10 years ago. So you need to be a little creative. If the name's gone, look for something else. Try adding another word in there. You could try it with hyphens. I would recommend that you do your best to get something that's straight words without hyphens, because what you want to think about when you're doing this is put yourself in an imaginary situation where you're having a conversation with somebody that you meet at a networking group, that you happen to run into in the supermarket, that you're on your go, right? You're on foot. And you want to be able to say, oh yeah, sure, go to my website. It's pattyrose.com. It's createbuildshare.com. It's something. But you want it to be catchy, that they might catch on to something and remember it. And sometimes with the hyphens, I think that gets a little more challenging, because if they don't remember the hyphen, they could end up on somebody else's website. So just think about thinking outside the box for this. Really play with a bunch of different, oh, and you know what? I'm going to add it to the file. There are domain generation websites that are free, that you could even Google it right now, but I'll add a few resources for you. There are domain generation websites that you can put in a series of keywords, and it will give you lists of different combinations of these keywords. If you haven't tried that yet, that's a really fun way to kind of explore different names. Okay, we're going to move on to 2, and we're going to talk about the extensions. So, for example, I have pattyrose.com. I also have pattyrose.net. I personally took those because I wanted to have a couple of Patty Roses, and this way, if you Google Patty Rose, the likelihood of you finding me either way is higher. But what you really want to do is think about whether or not the extension fits for you, and I'm going to get into that in the next thing. But you can get multiple. I think the point here is get at least one additional, right? So you want to get a .com and a .net, or a .net and a .biz, whatever that is. I recommend you get 2. Get your name. Once you get a name that you really like, get 2. At least 2 extensions, maybe 3, but I mean, you don't really need to go overboard, and that's the thing I think is the most important. Don't go overboard, but get 2. And if you saw the beginning of the video, I had to close the windows because all of a sudden the guys came to do the grass, and so I'm pretty warm. We just arrived in Florida last night, and I love it, and I'm pretty warm. So, okay, what's it like over there, Brandon? Is it snowing still in New York or New Jersey? So while you're coming back around, I'm going to go on to tip number 3. So it's an extension of tip number 2. So tip number 2 is you want to get at least 2, but tip number 3 is you don't need them all. So traditionally, originally, .com was the big thing. So .com is, oh, it's snowing, oh man, I hope you can have fun with your kids, at least, and make some snowmen. So the .com was the main thing, and because it was the main domain for so long, it's like a household. People will automatically go to .com. So when you can get your .com, I always recommend, even if you have to tweak your name, I recommend going with the .com. However, there are so many more that are available now. Like in the last 2 years, the extensions have completely blown up. So the originals were .com, which is company, .net, which is network, .org, which is organization. But now you can get .nyc and .biz and .photography and .clothing. So you could do, if you find your company name in a .com and then make your additional one a specific .photography or .clothing. So you can really see how that can push your branding and enhance your domain. Moving on here. So again, like I'm just looking here in the file, and it's just important that you don't, it's not important that you get them all. I really think but be creative and think of at least 2, because it just solidifies your brand and gives you more growth opportunity when using the domains. Okay, and then number 4 is, should you buy privacy protection? I get this question a lot, so I thought I would go over it with you. Basically, privacy protection is when you're checking out from buying your domain, and they say, do you want privacy protection? Whatever your business address is and your business mailing address and name will be available to the public if you do not choose privacy protection on your domain. If you have a P.O. box, or you have a business address that's a storefront and you're okay with that, that's fine. If you're working out of your home and you don't want your address available to the public in a pretty easily accessible way, anytime someone looks, it's called X Who Is. You type X Who Is into a browser and you can find all the information on someone's domain, the registrar, who they registered with, when they bought it, when it expires. So if you're looking to get a domain and you're really watching to see when it's going to come available, that's a good place to look and see, wow, this was just renewed last month, so I'm not going to get it for at least X years. So X Who Is a good resource, but you'll see on X domain set to privacy or their domain open to the public. You'll see their mailing address and everything. So that's what domain privacy is, and it's generally about $10, $8 a month is pretty average of what I'm seeing. So, it's not a big expense, and for your privacy, it might be well worth it. I do it on some, I don't do it on others. I mean, I live in a building with a doorman, so I'm not that concerned. That's how it goes. Okay, so 5, should you purchase hosting along with your domain? And my answer to this is no, because, my domain, the place where I prefer to buy domains is GoDaddy, because I've been using them for years and I really like their dashboard. Their domain dashboard is really easy to use, and they're like the domain kings. They've been around forever and they get good prices, and I know them. They have 24-hour support and you can call if you need help. And so I go with GoDaddy, but I don't use GoDaddy for hosting. There are other companies that do better for hosting, and by the way, I'm going to do a whole live tomorrow on hosting, a full checklist on what you need to know when you're looking for a hosting company. So come back tomorrow for that one. So I would say no. Don't get hosting on the way to the checkout. And then 6 is, don't get sold on your way on the checkout. So what happens is, when you're going through a domain purchase, they do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? Do you want that? And so most of those things you can say no, 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 and always go back and get them later. And it always feels at that moment like, I don't know, do I really need this? If you're not sure, then don't. When in doubt, don't. If you're not sure, don't do it. You can go back later. I'm sure that if you call GoDaddy and said, I think I want that service, they'll sell it to you. So don't feel stressed about that. Just go through the thing, get your domain, and be done. And then no, number 7, the 7th tip is that whether or not you should buy for more than a year. So the word on the street is that your domain, your search engines will see your domain as more legit if it's registered for a longer period of time. So I think, like, you know, when spammers got started, they would buy a domain for a year and go spam people for a year and then move on to something else, right? So I kind of think that's where the idea comes from. But basically, the search engines will give more weight to your domain if you have purchased it for a longer period of time. And for me, I'm just paranoid that I would ever lose my name, so I buy it at least 5 years at a time, my Patty Rose. But I have, you know, 40 or 50 domains. I get ideas, I buy a domain if it's going to work, right? I have different pages everywhere with different domains, but I might buy them for a year, make sure my idea is going to stick. Maybe I'll renew it the next year if my idea didn't really grow legs. Maybe I will renew it, maybe I won't. So, but when you're getting your real business domain, like your main brand, buy it for as many years as you can without feeling concerned that you could possibly lose. Like, so for me, I do 5 years at a pop for pattyrose.com and pattyrose.net, because I know I'm going to have those no matter what business brand I have. That's my name and I'm keeping it. So that's at least 5 years, and it helps with the search engine results. And that could change because, you know, SEO just keeps changing every minute of every day. It's kind of crazy. But at the time, at this point, that's pretty much how it goes. So I'm going to tell you one more thing that's not on this PDF. And thanks for hanging in there with me. One of the things you can do when you're buying your domains is do a Google search for a promo code. Again, I use GoDaddy, so I will generally get a promo code for a new domain. And so if I have like just an idea, right, I have a brainstorm and I'm like, I think I want to try this. I wonder if I can get the domain. I do a quick search, I find the domain, and I'm like, you know, if I did that $10 or $15 for every idea I had, and I have a lot of ideas, I could get expensive. So I'll do a quick search, and sometimes I can get those domains for $2, for $7, you know. So do a quick promo search and see if you can get a discount. That could save you money over time if you're an entrepreneurial idea generator like me. So let me ask you, do you already have your domain? Are you guys all set up with domains? Do you buy domains when you have ideas like I do? I'll give you a second. And do you have any other questions? Do you have questions for me on things about buying your domain? And, you know, like I said in the beginning, you already have domains, Elizabeth. So is there anything about the domain process that I can help you with, like with subdomains or, you know, using those domains in different ways? Is there something that I can help you with and questions I could answer now? I'm happy to do that. A little bit of a Q&A here. And do you have a lot of domains like me? I have a lot. By the way, hello. I didn't say hi before, Amy. Did I just call you Elizabeth or Amy? Hi, Amy. Thanks so much for sticking in, Brandon. I'm so glad you are here. And okay, I'm reading. Okay, Amy, great. really glad. If you guys have more questions come up, and like I said, I was just going back to the basics here so that we can move forward. Tomorrow is going to be on hosting. I'm going to go into some important things you need to know about hosting before you purchase, or if you're going to make a change from one host to another. That's going to be tomorrow, a little bit earlier in the day, probably more like 2 o'clock. And thanks, Brandon. Okay, let me know if you have questions. I'm here. Pop them in the group or send or in underneath this, and I'll make sure I come back and check it. Okay, that was the domain Facebook Live, and I'm so glad you guys could come, and I will see you tomorrow for hosting. Hope you have a great day and stay warm in the snow, whoever's in the snow. Okay, bye. I'm still here. Oh, it's not snowing in New York. You know, the thing won't shut off, so I got to see your comments, Amy. It's not snowing in New York City. It's snowing in Jersey, where Brandon is. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.